Hello my scrappy friends, it is Jess here from the Scrappy Sisters and thank you for joining me for a Kidaholics Kits design team layout. So I started this layout by pulling out a white sheet of paper and cutting it down to a 10 by 10 square and popping that onto the Simple Stories coloured pattern paper that came in our kit. I tried to cut something out with it on my silhouette, but my mat was not sticky and the piece of paper got fairly attacked. You can see all the sticky tape lines. So I didn't want to lose it and I didn't want to waste it. So I matted quite a bit of it, but I've still got that beautiful pop of colour and I just love that colour. You can see that I've got a 3 photo layout happening here and they are my boys at Movie World in meeting the different superheroes. And I went ahead and hand cut a whole bunch of different letters, which I then stitched. I cut them out of the cut apart sheet. That's why there's so many different colours and patterns happening. I then stitched those with a corresponding thread. And then I glued them all again onto white paper and cut them out a second time so that they had a little white border. I got that idea of the fabulous Alison Davis. I saw that she had done a similar style with one of her layouts where she cut out the different letters. And I just thought it was really, really cute and I really wanted to give that a try for myself. So you can see that my first word is the word calling. Excuse me. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that on. I was going to use my ATG, but decided it was a bit too fiddly and just went with wet glue instead. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that on. I am holding my palm on top of each letter first just to make sure that it really sticks. And you might have noticed that I also spread the glue with my finger. I just wanted to make sure I had glue all over the whole backing and that it's really adhering down onto the page. I didn't want those letters sort of peeling or popping back up. I'm also overlapping them just a little bit to make them all join together so that they definitely fit on the white square, but also because I like the idea of having them touching and showing that the word is all together as one word. It just kind of gives it a bit more connectivity. So I'm going ahead with my word calling, and once this one is glued down, I'm going to jump ahead to the completed title. And this takes up basically the entire page of my layout. So here we are right now, snap, and I am back with my entire title done. And so as you can see, it says calling all superheroes. Now I'm hoping you can read it. The font is a little bit different. The E's don't entirely look like an E, but as we know, as educated readers, you don't always need the letters in the correct order to figure out what the word says. So I'm hoping that the E looks enough like an E with the rest of the letters that we can actually read it. And with the context of the photos, it all works out fine. That's my hope. I just thought the font was cute, and it was off a free font website. Can't remember what it's called, something about Story of Boys or something. I can let you know that down in the description box if you are interested. So now I'm going ahead and playing with my embellishment clusters, of course using the No Limits collection here because that is what our fabulous kit was based around this month. Popping some things up on foam. Because of the way I had to glue on the title, I stuck the title and the photos flat on the page. Now, normally I'm a sucker for sticking all of that stuff up on foam, but that was going to be massive to stick the everything up on foam. And also I was worried that the letters might be a bit too flimsy for that. It'd need a lot of foam structure behind it. So I stuck it all down flat, and I'm actually going to stick my clusters up on foam. So kind of the opposite way around is how I would normally do it. But the idea is I still wanted a bit of height happening on the page. I'm obviously getting a little bit of texture from the stitching, but I didn't want to lose that height. So you can see that I cut a frame piece in half to be a sort of an anchor or a base for that embellishment cluster. But then, of course, couldn't get the other half in up here because I'd already glued all this down. Now the photo gave me a little bit of give because I just used my ATG gun, but that letter C was not moving. So originally I would have liked to put part of that frame underneath the letter C, but that was never going to happen. A lot of these embellishments I've actually cut from the cut apart sheet as well, the other cut apart sheet. There are 2 that comes in this collection and I've used them both today. So the one that is mostly 3x4 cards and 4x6 cards is the one I use, which is the first sheet I used to cut out the title. The ephemera bits and pieces that I cut out, like the good vibes and the one down the bottom about having a blast, they're from the cut apart sheet that has other bits and pieces on it as well, like border pieces and stuff like that. I love those for creating embellishments. So as you can see, I'm going ahead and making my 2 clusters, and I definitely want a third one, and that empty space over there is definitely the place for it to go. I also was super keen on getting all of those lightning bolts onto this page. 1, they make me think of superheroes. 2, they specifically make me think of Flash. 3, Flash is in one of the photos. And 4, Flash is Thomas's current favorite superhero. So for all those reasons, I definitely wanted to try and get it on the page. So I'm essentially done with all my clusters now, but I haven't really used this sticker sheet at all. Now there are some beautiful base things that I could have used as a base behind my clusters, but I used that frame piece instead. So I'm going to pull in some tiny word stickers for no other reason than I want to. This layout could completely be finished, but I just decided I'd add those on just as an extra little pop of something. And of course they need to go up on foam because all the other parts of the cluster are up on foam. So that is it. I'm going to put 3 of those on, 1 into each cluster. I'm really carefully reading them to really make sure that they match and pay attention to what is happening on the page. And also I had to be careful that I didn't use a phrase that is already on the page somewhere else, because I do have a lot of word phrases happening on my page today. A lot of my ephemera has writing on it of some description. So I'm popping that down onto the page now, obviously. And then the next thing I'm going to do is add some enamel dots. I was going to use the stars and the planets and stuff that came with the No Limits collection and in the kit, but I still haven't busted into that yet, and I have a selection of enamel dots that are open with matching colors. So I just stick with that one. And yes, there are only spots, but the colors match, and I'm already halfway through the packet, so I may as well keep going before I open a new packet. So I'm going to pop those on. I use up the last of the larger size dots, and that just leaves me with the smaller ones, which I absolutely love. They are definitely my favorite over top of the large ones. You might notice that I put like 30% of the large one underneath a piece of embellishment so that what you actually see is a much smaller pop of color. I do that nearly 99% of the time when I'm using the larger size embellishments, enamel dots, because they are just too big for my particular liking. Now I'm coming on in with some gold sparkles spray and some black Heidi Swap Color Shine as well. Love it, love it. And I'm calling this one done. So here is my close-up of the completed layout. I'm really happy with how this came together. This collection was the perfect collection for those superhero photos, and it worked really, really well. You can see the little hiding pop of the enamel dot behind the ephemera in these different photos, and as well as the effect of all that stitching and beautiful color coming together. I hope you have enjoyed watching this process video, and I can't wait to share more layouts with you next month. Thanks everyone. Have a wonderful, happy, scrappy week.